Johnson, one of your course leaders, and it's great to be with you today. We're going to be doing a debrief on Mimic Pro and then doing a short introduction to Mimic Social. So for those of you who are just joining in, we're going to get started in about 1 to 2 minutes. So sit tight and we'll kick things off in just a couple of moments. Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, for reference, I'm Michael Johnson, one of your course leaders, and I'm really excited to go over the takeaways from Mimic Pro. I hope you find it valuable and insightful as we look backward on some of those things that we did as part of the assignment related to Mimic Pro. There's a lot to kind of unpack here and a lot to take away from the simulation. My hope is that you have a better understanding of how the simulation works and what can be done to have really a best-in-class type score. So I'm going to give you some examples from real campaigns that were done with takeaways and insights. And then we'll quickly transition to Mimic Social, which is the next simulation. And you all can get started on that. So Mimic Pro, I have a few examples. One of the biggest things that I found was a mistake that some of you made is that my recommendation was to run 2 campaigns concurrently. So functionally, this is your round 1 campaign, whatever you decide to name that, and this is your round 2 campaign. What Substance did is they paused one of these and only ran with one. What that does is it makes it really hard to spend your entire budget when you're not running 2 campaigns. So if you are one of those students, then I would definitely make sure that you have as many, the campaigns that you've created active. A couple of other things, really for you to get best in class results, you need about 200,000 impressions. And then the closer to 5,000 clicks, the better. So if you're looking for benchmarks, these are really where the best in class participants start to separate themselves, is the number of impressions and clicks that they're getting. This average position is good, so that's fine. Sorry, average position and the average cost per click, those are both good. Those are well in line with where they should be. However, if you remember, the budget is $5,000 per week, and that does not, or per round, and that does not roll over. So this student's mistake was not spending enough. In fact, they could have increased their results by about 50% had they have been able to spend their entire budget. So we'll talk about what that means, and most of you will probably feel like you struggled there. Anything above 2% is a really good click-through rate. So again, above average there. However, I would take a look at the landing pages and the ads, because your best in class participants will get really close to about 5%. Now, anything above 10K is great for revenue. This person was at about 7. However, I think for you to really be a best in class participant, a couple things should happen. First of all, you can almost double the number of clicks, which would double your profits. If you can double your your clicks, and then again double your conversion rate, what that does is now you've basically 4x your profits. So really the best in class participants are 30K plus, with some generating over 6 figures in profits. So it's possible, but you have to start with spending your budget and getting those type of results. And then it all really hinges on how good your conversion rate is to get those profit numbers to as high as they can be. So we'll talk about what to do from a structural perspective to do that. So here's an example of some of the best keywords that came from this student's campaign. You'll see that almost all of them are branded. They all include the brand name in them. So it doesn't matter if it's the Panasonic Lumix or the Canon. But you'll notice that this person had good success doing other Canon lines. So the T6i is the camera, but they're advertising the T3i or the EOS or just the DSLR. But almost all of their profit came from really about these top, 10 or so keywords. So see what you can learn from that. Everything else on here is pretty well in line with what most of you saw for results. Good click-through rates, good conversion rates, but volume is really the play. In the GoPro campaign, which is where this student saw some decent results, you'll see that there were a couple campaigns where they didn't even spend any of their budget. So if I were this person, I would, in my next round, I would look at these 3 campaigns right here and ask myself, why were the results so low? My position's not very good. I didn't spend hardly anything on even these 4. The majority of the spend went to these 2. So I'd ask myself, could I make some adjustments to these 4 and this one, add more keywords, adjust my landing pages, etc., with the idea that I could improve the results. Maybe, like I said, increase bids, add keywords, etc. And yes, two of the GoPro campaigns were paused. Sinead made that comment. My point in really saying it is they're there and you've fragmented it because there's GoPro, GoPro Hero, and GoPro Hero 4. Could you consolidate these 3, put more keywords in this one, increase your bids dramatically, improve your average position, and all of a sudden could you spend more? That's where testing and stuff comes into play, in my opinion. Here's an example of an ad. Mentions the product name right in it. Ad text is decent. Again, though, I think you could work on your conversion rate and your click-through rate and improve results. Here's the Fujifilm ad group. Again, you have to ask yourself the question, what could I adjust to start getting more impressions here? Do I remove them? Do I add more keywords? What do I do? This is definitely worth testing because this would be some nice incremental volume. Here's one of their landing pages for the Fujifilm. It's got the product in the title and in the description. They've got it in the heading, and then just a snippet that they pulled from a website about the product. So now let's go to a best-in-class participant. I've given you some examples of one that needed improved. Well, here's what one of the takeaways would be for one of the best. So you'll see that now this person has everything in its own campaign. GoPro, Fuji, Nikon, they spent a lot of time breaking these out and making it clear. And you'll see that they have their budgets spread accordingly. Budget's probably going to be too high. It's not going to let you move forward, but it's just an idea of what they're mocking up in this round. When I pulled the screenshot, I'm not sure what their intentions were. Anyway, to move forward, you can see that they had almost 400,000 impressions and 8,400 clicks. That's a lot more than the other example I just gave you. The cost per click is about 10 cents lower, but look at the number of conversions, almost 250 and a 3% conversion rate. That means with the new extra volume, they generated 25,000 in profit instead of 7,000 in profit. So a very, very big difference. Taking the time to put each product in their own campaign with their own ad groups and really segmenting things. Carol Lee asked the question, if your average position is 1.7 to 1.9 on keywords you are having success with, would you increase your bids greater than 15% than you had suggested? I really wouldn't worry too much about 1.7. I mean, you could bump them up another, few cents, but I don't really see a reason to do that. I would, it's worth testing, but I wouldn't go like adding $1. I would just bump them up a little bit. Here's the Sony campaign. Clearly this ad needs redone. The click-through rate's really low, but this would be another place where more volume could come because you could double that click-through rate by adjusting the ads and making them better. But great return. They spent $500 and got 6,000. Probably do that all day. The CyberShot, same kind of thing. This is their CyberShot ad group. So all of the keywords are in here. Here's the ad text. Digital Pocket, Sony CyberShot, get yours now. Good conversion rate. Like I said, below average click-through rate, but very good profitable campaign. So with all that in mind, I have a few takeaways on some additional resources to take your pay-per-click advertising to the next level. First, platform called WordStream. It's a great introductory platform. It's kind of like training wheels if you're really wanting to manage a PPC account. It's something that I know a lot of people have tried. What it does is it just gives you step-by-step instructions for maybe some adjustments to make to maximize your paid advertising performance. The next thing is the Google Ads editor. It allows you to build this all out in like a spreadsheet and import it into Google Ads to save you a bunch of time. You can export and import files. You can, move items. You can keep working even if you don't have an internet connection. It's something we use all the time at my agency, Get Found First. My last recommendation is to go through the Google Partners exams and specializations. If you search Google Partner Program or Google Partner certification, then you can actually take free exams and become certified in Google Ads, Google Analytics, and others. It's a printable certificate. I think it's really great. Every single one of my employees has to do this. I think an employer or a place where you work would love to see that you also got this certification as a result of taking the course. You've received a lot of introductory training, so it wouldn't be very difficult for you to continue and get this certificate. And I highly, highly recommend it. If you want to stay up on what's happening in the industry, then check out searchengineland.com. It's one of my favorites. It's a great resource to get familiar with what's happening in the industry and what you can do to stay up to date with the trends in digital. The Google Ads blog is also great. It's new releases and test cases and ideas for management that I think are really, really powerful and a great resource. So check it out. Take a little time, read through some of their posts and see what's happening with the ads platform. And with that, we're going to move to Mimic Social. If you're still working on Mimic Pro or you want some additional help, then again, use the support tab on Canvas and hit me up and be happy to walk through or provide you with some insights or next steps, depending on if you need it. For those of you who maybe thought Mimic Pro was too technical or maybe a little challenging, I think you'll really, really like Mimic Social. I think it's very easy. I think the principles are clear to follow and understand. I think the platform is fairly intuitive. I think you'll have a really great experience with Mimic Social. It's often very well received by the classes that I've been involved with. So when you start, make sure that first of all, you've activated your Mimic Social account, just like you did with Mimic Pro. When you log in the first time, you're gonna get to a screen that looks like this. It says, welcome to Mimic Social. In the simulation, you'll be acting as a social media marketing manager. And through that short experience, you'll learn how to build social media campaigns, promote your content, and understand social media analytics. There's an 11-minute video. Take the time to watch it. It will walk you through the platform and kind of help you get up to date on your responsibilities at Buoy, this bag company that you're working for. So once you've watched the video, it'll take you to a summary page that looks like this. You are the digital marketing manager for a company called Buoy. They sell bags online. They specialize in backpacks, purses, wallets, satchels, etc. They want to, of course, use marketing to increase their sales, and they wanted to, have the kind of bags that work for lots of different applications. On the next tab, so you'll go from About Buoy to the products. You'll be able to see an overview of the different products that Buoy sells. So they sell dozens of products, and they're always bringing more to market. You can see the prices range from $35 to $75, and they come in a variety of colors or prints. So social media marketing is about connecting with your audience, joining the conversation, and sharing content. If when you use this, it'll you want to make sure you're not just selling, that you're finding a way to connect with the people who follow you on social media. This is probably the most important slide that you have to pay attention to, and most students who succeed will take a little bit of time and even take some notes, because it's kind of hard navigating back and forth between the simulation and this page. You could even print it out if you wanted. But the takeaway here is that Buoy's market falls between people of the ages 19 and 32. Very, very small subset of the total population. 90% of Buoy's customers are in that age group. So there's 7 segments. You'll see that the marketing department has put together those personas for each of the segments. It's very important that you familiarize yourself with those demographics so that you can create and push that content to new customers. So below is the example of Back to School Molly. She represents 20% of the market. She's between the ages of 18 and 26. She's female. Her income is 12 to 20,000 a year. And then there's a bunch of, you probably can't see with this bar, but a list of her interests. She's interested in backpacks and style, fashion, bags, convenient, etc. That's how you set up your targeting for the ads. So remember this, and we're going to refer back to it in a moment when I show you how to create an ad. But this is literally the most important piece of the simulation. If you get this wrong in your targeting, you won't do well. You can get everything else right, but if you get this wrong, it won't work. So it's just really important to make sure you get it right. The next tab is the Insights tab. And it just lets you see last year's social media results, what platforms did well, where would you want to grow and improve. The thing to take away is a couple of things. Number one, the platforms that work will continue to work. The ones that don't, you'll have a really, really hard time improving them. Your best place to focus in order are Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, and then LinkedIn and YouTube. LinkedIn and YouTube are very, very hard, and you're not going to get great results from them because it just doesn't match the audience. Next, you'll get us over your budget. You'll get $5,000 a week. You have 2 costs when you create a social media post. The first goes to creating the content that you'll use, and I'll show you what that means. But Each piece of content you choose to use for your posts will come with an associated cost. The second cost goes towards advertising or promoting your post. You can post for free, but only a small percentage of your followers will actually see your post when you don't pay to promote it. Keep track not to overspend. Try to spend as much as you can so that you can maximize your results, but don't go over. The chief marketing officer has given you 4 objectives: spend your budget, spend it wisely, grow your reach, and improve engagement. All right, so this is how the platform really works. When you get to the continue page, you'll be able to get to the post section, and you'll see something that looks like this. This is closely mimics what it's like to use a post management tool such as Hootsuite or Buffer. So what you'll do is you'll write a quick post. You'll select which platforms you want to post it on. You'll add an image or your post content, schedule it, and add and do your ads. So imagine I just clicked on the plus button here. It'll take you to this page where you can select the content. I'm going to give you a really important hint. Try to use products with pictures, either featuring the product or, more importantly, people out using the product. Those posts always do well. Infographics tend to be too expensive, and they really don't lead to much sales. You can do okay with some of these outdoor pictures, but they're very expensive. Sometimes these cheap little posts, you'd rather do more posts and you'd get better results than trying to do sales or expensive posts. So imagine I selected this one, 20% off a full priced item. I'm going to write sale on all backpacks this week only. That's my post content. Next, I select my platforms. So I'm going to post it on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If I clicked on Twitter, it'll say post on Twitter. I toggle this yes. I could decide yes or no if I was going to pay to promote it. Imagine I clicked yes. This will bring up an interface very similar to what you see on like Facebook, where you can create an audience. So let's go back to school Molly for a second. Molly was between the ages of 19 and 32. So I'd adjust this to 19, this to 32. I'd change the gender to female because that's what she is. I would add a bunch of interests, things like backpack, she liked bag, fashion, etc. I set the budget for how much I want to advertise, and I can save this audience for later. One thing that most students have a lot of success doing as well is finding the overlaps, finding what personas have things in common, and then trying to advertise towards a commonality rather than a specific one of those 7 personas to try to get better results. After I've set my post, I'm going to schedule it. So you go here, you select the time and date. So first you'll select the date. So I'm going to post this October 27th. Come down here and I set the time. The time of day is very important. Think about when your audience might be using social media. My only tip. And then what you'll do is you'll add all your posts. So you'll schedule out, my recommendation is 12 to 14 posts a week and a unique post. So what I'm saying is if you do one post and you post it on all 4 platforms, that's just one post. You should see 12 to 14 of these as you scroll down. I wouldn't spend this much promoting. I tend to do like $500 to $800 a post, sometimes more, sometimes less. I tend to have a couple that aren't promoted that I use organically, but select your platforms and try to do 12 to 14 unique posts. Some platforms you can post more on than others, like Twitter. Some you'll maybe only do every now and then, like LinkedIn and YouTube. This is also very important. You are going to need to complete rounds 1, 3, and 5. Rounds 2, 4, and 6 are analysis rounds, and they are not graded. So for grading purposes, we need you to complete rounds 1, 3, and 5. Again, rounds 2, 4, and 6 are not graded. If you complete all available rounds for Mimic Pro and Mimic Social, each of those you'll get a certificate from Stukent, basically saying you're certified in digital marketing. You have 1 year to complete that, so don't feel like you're in a rush, but I would definitely complete it. And I think that's a really cool, nice addition to what we're doing here with this course. It'll save your work as you go. But again, rounds 2, 4, and 6, don't worry about these reflection questions. Once you've completed a round, it'll take you to your results page where you can see how you did by platform. It'll help you see engagement as well as performance all the way down to revenue. Here's an example of how things went. You can see this post did really well. Spent $200 and got 7,000. Spent 2,000, got 30. Spent $1 and got 15. This is an example of a post that was a little more organic that actually did quite well. I'm going to give you a couple benchmarks, just like I did for Mimic Pro, just a moment. So if I were going to try to help you understand what you can accomplish, I would shoot for about 200,000 impressions per round. Engagements tend to be about 30% of what you saw in impressions. So I would set a goal of like 70,000 per round. The click-through rate is usually higher on social. So let's just say it's ends up being roughly 4% is a little high, so I'm going to say it's probably 3. So that would be around 20,000 clicks. And then the click-through rate, if you're above 3%, is probably ideal. 50 cents is a good goal for your cost per click, but if you're under 50 cents, but under like 30 cents, you probably need to try to spend more. If you're over 70 cents, there usually signals there's a problem. These are kind of non-consequential, but they're good directional metrics, but they're not something I would really weigh heavily. And then from a conversion standpoint, I would really just shoot. This is really high. This was some really well performing campaigns, but if you set a goal to get somewhere around 1,000 conversions, that's really pretty good. That would result in, probably 50K in revenue. So those are high, but those are give you an idea of what the best in class results would be. For those of you that are kind of wondering. I know there's a question in the Q&A box. I'm going to get to that for a second. Romaine asked the question, if we promote for only $5, will the post be still posted organically after the budget is spent? And the answer is yes, Romaine, it will be. Let me go back to sharing my screen just a moment. So one of the things that sometimes confuses students is there's a customer satisfaction star rating right here. You often wonder how they get 5 stars or where that comes from. It comes from this. This is what will happen while you're in the simulation is you'll get a message, like it says, like here, Molly says, "Hey Bowie, wondering if you had any deals for backpacks this fall," and you select your response. There's usually 3 responses. 2 of them are pretty mediocre and 1 of them is good. In this case, the correct answer would be to give Molly a list of deals and send it to her. If you do that, then your customer's really pretty happy. Sharonade says, for the export.csv file that was mentioned in the introductory video, is it only available from round 2 onwards or round 1 as well? It's only after you complete a simulation. So after round 1, it'll be available, but you'll have to complete round 1, Sharonade. Teresa said, any suggestion on the length of the post? I test it. I tend to, not do more than about 2 or 3 sentences. I found that usually does well for me. Lastly, are just a few resources. You're probably familiar with these, but the Stu Camp blog is great. There's news coming all the time. I highly recommend checking out their expert sessions. I've said this before, but this is valuable for business. For you, businesses pay thousands and thousands of dollars to send people to conferences and things like that. And in reality, these expert sessions are free to you and really, really valuable. You can learn all types of things. You can learn about social listening and social media marketing. This is a social media marketing manager named Tori who works at IBM, and she has some tips and ideas for you. That about finishes it up for me. I want to definitely give you guys a chance to ask some questions. Eli asked, can we do round 3 with the non-compete? Round 2, you can just put NA in all the boxes, or you can answer them. It's just, you need to know it's not graded, but yes, you can, Eli. We are going to share a link. Yes, I can share a link to those expert sessions just a moment. I put it in the chat for everyone. Oops. Now I put it in the chat for everyone. Okay, well, that finishes most things up for me. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm your main point of contact for anything related to the simulation. So if there's something I can do to help you, I'm here to do it. You can reach out to me using the support tab on Canvas, but the best thing to do is just get started. I think that Mimic Social is great, and hopefully you've had some time to finish up Mimic Pro. So everyone, have a wonderful week. Happy Monday. I appreciate you taking the time to join today and hope it's helpful. So everyone, have a wonderful afternoon, a great day ahead of you, and we'll talk soon.